It is the first day of April 2023. A very good evening to you and happy new month and happy April Fool's Day. Don't worry, we won't be fooling you, but we'll be giving you factual information right here at TV47 Weekend. Welcome to the bulletin, to our top 4 stories just for you. Tonight,
I'm happy because I'm going to cover the maandamano, and my job is to be narrating how they are moving. Tell me, aren't you also breeding anarchy?
Kenya Kwanza leaders have criticized the media, claiming journalists are instigating attacks against themselves.
I want to caution those young men who have been taking advantage of the violence unleashed by Raila to steal property, to mug people, to loot property, that Monday is their last day to do so.
Also tonight, Monday will be your last protests. DP Rigathi Gachagua warns Azimio leaders, says the government will not tolerate the demos.
Kama waheshimiwa hatuna usalama. Serikali wala watu ambao wametupatia kama serikali tusaidie. Tena wale ndo wanashuhudia waheshimiwa wakidungwa visu. Usalama wetu uko wapi?
Plus, Kisa East MCA Stephen Maloba is dead after he was stabbed in Kakamega.
Going forward, anybody who leads maandamano na wachome tamak and their political party, ile pesa wangepata from political parties fund, itolewe kwa Ministry of Roads to repair mabarabara yenye imeng'olewa na wale ambao wanang'oa barabara.
And political parties must pay when protesters destroy roads, now says Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen. Is on the silent rotation. Welcome to the bulletin. My name is Stanley Irungita. Tonight, journalists are under attack again, with Kenya Kwanza leaders led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi warning members of the Fourth Estate against abusing their freedom. The leaders, who spoke during a Thanksgiving ceremony in Malava, Kakamega County, accused journalists of being biased and their reporting, with none offering an apology or any sympathy following the attack on journalists by the police. At least 10 journalists, among them TV47's Jones Nganga, have been injured as they fulfilled their duties of informing Kenyans during the Azimio protests.
How can you be reporting every day about a pundit? You are the one. Today I'm happy because I'm going to cover the maandamano, and my job is to be narrating how they are moving. Tell me, aren't you also breeding anarchy? Aren't you fueling anarchy? And anarchy breeds anarchy.
So nyinyi watu ya magazeti, kama mnangojea hii serikali ya William Ruto isabaratike, you will wait for a long time. I've even them seeing, because I had a meeting on Sunday with our security chiefs, and Professor Kindiki, we had sent him to North Rift to deal with the bandit, and he was not able to come to meeting. This same media trying to create a narrative that there is a problem. Nyinyi watu ya Azimio mwachana na sisi. Mungoje tuonane na nyinyi 2027. You join that Azimio brigade and your fellows, tukutane kwa debe. Na msitusie sisi woga. You wrote all headlines against us. You demeaned President William Ruto. You called him a thief. You wrote anything bad you can never write about anybody. But the people of Kenya ignored you and elected him as president.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has issued a stern warning ahead of Azimio planned protests on Monday. The DP says the government will not sit back and watch as goons destroy properties, saying Monday will be their last time to do so. Speaking during an interdenominational Thanksgiving church service in Malava constituency in Kakamega County, Gachagua reiterated that there will not be a handshake between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga, who is the Azimio leader, urging Raila to reiterate in peace, or rather to retire in peace. Elizabeth Mutuku with the story.
Politics dominated the interdenominational Thanksgiving church service in Malava constituency, Kakamega County, with leaders allied to Kenya Kwanza condemning the Azimio protests spearheaded by Raila Odinga. Without mincing his words, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua laid bare the reasons why the U.S. ambassador and the international community has continued to ignore Raila's calls over protests, stating there won't be a handshake, noting that it's not envisaged in the 2010 constitution.
And they added the votes, and they were convinced that William Ruto won fair and square. The issues you are now raising, the international community has told you off, and you have been exposed. Now you are crying.
Further, he sent a stern warning to protesters over the destruction of property, stating that it will not be business as usual thereafter, as the government will fully assert its authority.
And I want to assure the people of Kenya today from Kakamega, tomorrow, nobody, I repeat, nobody will be allowed to destroy property anywhere in the Republic. I want to caution those young men who have been taking advantage of the violence unleashed by Raila to steal property, to mug people, to loot property, that Monday is their last day to do so.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, on his part, has urged Raila Odinga to retire in peace, with National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula urging retired President Uhuru Kenyatta to speak out against the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya anti-government protests.
We cannot have this. You cannot have your cake and eat it. You cannot pretend to be the Democrat. Unakasirika na mabalozi because walikuambia Jumapili, walikuambia kwamba you have no case. That is what they told you. And if I'm cheating, you stand somewhere and swear. Because the truth is, they told you you have no case.
Sasa wewe Rais Uhuru mustaafu, you should be the #1 elder statesman in Kenya who can call the country to order when things are going wrong. Why are you maintaining a conspiracy of silence? Why are you maintaining a conspiracy of silence? Why? Because you are conflicted. And because you are conflicted, you are compromising terribly your own legacy.
The Kenya Kwanza Brigade dismissed Raila Odinga's assassination claims, saying the former Prime Minister is whipping emotions from his supporters.
And he is bringing goons ili kwenda kupora mali ya watu. That we want to tell you, Mr. Raila Odinga, you will stop. If you do not stop, government must use all legitimate force to stop you from destroying our country, destroying the peace and tranquility in our country, and destroying other people's properties.
Siku wewe utaona hata katika ile serikali ya handshake ambayo alikuwa akipata kitu yoyote inaenda kwa mtoto wake, mjomba wake, dada yake. Hakuna mtu Kakamega hii, hata saa hii tukifunga macho tunaweza sema sababu ati mlikuwa supporters wake wengine aliwahi pata kitu kwa serikali ya handshake because of supporting him.
Azimio One Kenya is expected to go on with protests against the government on Monday next week, even as DP Gachagua warns this will be the last demos held by opposition leaders. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Now tonight, Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga has talked more controversy on the 2022 presidential election results by putting up a website claiming he won last year's election. The new website upholding Odinga's claims during the political rallies that he won was, however, been dismissed by critics, terming it as a waste of time. And as Apollo Kumar reports, Kenya Kwanza Brigade has rolled out any talks of any on the election results.
Ahead of Monday's high-stake protests coming against the backdrop of hardening positions from the government and the Azimio coalition, Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga has now opened a new website to support his election rigging claims. Odinga on his Twitter page posted the new website kenyaelectionresults.com, alleging it leaves no room for doubt that Azimio emerged victorious in the last election, telling the president to vacate office.
We must allow Kenyans to make a decision of their own. And we will continue to question. And we have said that we will demand that the servers must be opened so that we can be able to interrogate the results in the servers.
In the new website, Odinga alleges that IEBC servers handed him victory of 8.1 million votes compared to President William Ruto's 5.9 million votes. This against IEBC's Bomas Portal results, which saw the president declared the winner with 7.1 million votes compared to Odinga's 6.9 million votes.
What we have going on now is an issue of power play, nothing else. Raila and his team have made it very clear. They want Ruto out so that they get in. You know, the issue is not a question of negotiation. It's a question of reaching some changes of attitude. I think that there is need for change of attitude and to show respect to institutions that we created and then we ignore. Kenyans are very good at creating institutions that sound wonderful. And when it comes to implementation, throw them out.
The IEBC election portal on the 2022 election results was disabled after the Supreme Court verdict, meaning the numbers cannot be compared at the moment unless compelled to do so. Also, IEBC cannot respond to Odinga's claims, given there is no commission in place. IEBC chairman is a presidential returning officer who can only respond to such allegations.
Chairman wa Azimio ndio alipeana.
Odinga's critics have questioned the rationale behind the website, given his evidence was defeated at the Supreme Court, ruling out any dialogue on the presidential election results.
Number one, akubali kwamba matokeo ya kura ya 2022 imeisha. Number two, akubali kwamba baada hiyo matokeo kuisha, aliyetangazwa rais aliidhinishwa na mahakama ya juu, the Supreme Court. Alafu wakuje tusungumze mambo ya cost of living. Why not?
Odinga promised his supporters a humongous march on Monday, despite warnings by the government not to lead his supporters to the streets. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Now, meanwhile, political leaders have been urged to embrace dialogue that will help end anti-government protests organized by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga. Stakeholders in the education sector have raised concerns over the disruption of learning on Mondays and Thursdays, especially in schools located in slum areas during this period when learners are preparing for their end-of-term examinations. Sylvia Nyongasa with the details.
Following the anti-government protests that have been witnessed in the country for 2 weeks, stakeholders in the education sector, led by the Kenya National Union of Teachers and National Parents Association, have raised concern that learning activities may have been disrupted further, especially in day schools located in slum areas.
There's too much noise. You can see that. And when there's noise outside the classrooms, the students who are in the classrooms cannot pay attention to the teachers. The teachers themselves cannot be at rest to teach because they're also concerned with what's happening outside. They want to know what's happening, what's the outcome of what's going on outside. And especially when there's shooting of tear gas, you know, that kind of gun sound. Some of these demonstrators, when they are followed by the police, some of them ending up in school compounds. And then when they do that, they interrupt the learning.
Parents Association CEO George Sikulu says that the unpredictable nature of demonstrations pose a risk to learners and teachers, noting that the environment could affect performance negatively.
It's not 100% of the success of the child attributed to what happened in the class. The contextual, social, environmental issues around the child contribute to that.
In a statement released by the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Secretary General Collins Oyu noted that ongoing protests will negatively affect the education sector that is struggling to revert to its original calendar post-COVID-19, even as grade 6 learners have recently transitioned to junior secondary school amid challenges.
If they want to demonstrate, because they've been given freedom to demonstrate, they do that between 9 and let's maybe 3 p.m. Then they walk out of the streets so that the children from school at 5 can go home. They end up their demonstrations early enough, even at 2 p.m. Even demonstrations from 8 o'clock up to 5 p.m. And some of them between 8 and 1 p.m. There's no difference. The issue remains that there's been demonstration.
The political leaders to resolve this quickly so that we don't have that going on.
Some schools remained deserted on Monday and Thursday this week, while those that received few learners released them to go home early to ensure their safety. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
And from the effects in the classroom to the effects on the road, the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport, Kipchumba Murkomen, has warned that moving forward, the government will be forced to use the political parties' fund allocated to Azimio One Kenya to repair roads that have been destroyed by the coalition supporters. Speaking during an interdenominational Thanksgiving service in Malava, Kakamega County, Murkomen noted that his ministry will come up with stringent measures to reduce road carnage, among them installing cameras on all major highways. Since the Azimio demonstrations began on the 20th of March of this year, this has been the aftermath on major roads in the country. Burnt tires, damaged guardrails, and stones left on the tarmacs after running battles between the police and the demonstrators.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President.
And in a bid to prevent a repeat of the same in the future, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has warned that the ministry will set stringent measures targeting political parties that cause havoc and destroy road infrastructure.
Going forward, anybody who leads maandamano na wachome tarmac, wang'oe rails, waharibu barabara, we are going to reach a stage where we will say they will have vicarious liability and their political party, ile pesa wangepata from political parties fund, itolewe kwa Ministry of Roads to repair mabarabara yenye imeng'olewa na wale ambao wanang'oa barabara. That is the only way we are going to make sure these political parties and political actors are going to carry out their opposition responsibilities with a lot of humility and with the right way, the way to go.
Following the deadly road accident in Naivasha on Thursday that claimed the lives of 14 people, Murkomen has attributed road carnage to reckless drivers. They say the government will install cameras on all the major highways to track and arrest reckless drivers.
We are going to privatize car inspection, to get private investors to make car inspections across the country so that we make it mandatory for every car to be inspected across the nation. Tumemaliza regulations na watu wa bunge, tutafanya advertisements hivi makaribu.
And with the Easter holidays around the corner, Kenyans have been urged to be vigilant and exercise caution on the roads as they travel up country. Now, on a sad note, residents of Kisa East Ward in Kakamega County are mourning the death of their MCA Stephen Maloba, who was stabbed to death following a political confrontation in a rally within his ward in Huisero constituency. It is alleged that goons armed with a knife stabbed him to death while attempting to block him from addressing the crowd. Here is Gilbert Nalwa with the story.
A somber mood engulfed Kisa East Ward of Kakamega County on Saturday. Residents here are in mourning following the death of their member of County Assembly, Stephen Maloba, who was allegedly stabbed to death in a political function held in Huisero constituency.
Stand with the family, stand with his wife, stand with the children. stand with the people who loved him. He was serving.
The political meeting, believed to have been convened by Huisero Member of Parliament Christopher Aseka, turned chaotic and deadly after a group of people attempted to block the MCA Stephen Maloba from entering the venue.
Alikuwa amekuja kuhudhuria mkutano ambao ulikuwa umeandaliwa na Mheshimiwa Aseka, na kwa kuwa na vurugu dhidi ya mheshimiwa na wale walinzi wa Aseka. Mheshimiwa Aseka mwenyewe sijaongea na yeye, lakini nataka polisi wafanye uchunguzi so that they give us the true story. Kuna maayutos walikuwa pale so that we get to the bottom of this.
Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza and Senator Boni Halwale led the county in condoling with the family, saying the incident was unfortunate, calling on the police to conduct thorough investigations and bring the culprits to book.
Jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba hiyo mambo ilikuwa inafanyika mbele ya polisi. OCS alikuwa pale, wale polisi wa Huisero walikuwa pale, and this is not acceptable. The fellow ambaye alidunga Mheshimiwa Maloba kisu anajulikana. He's not a stranger. We want justice to be served to the family of the late Stephen Maloba.
The security team, starting from the assistant chief to the chief to the policeman mpaka mkubwa wa polisi yule mama anaitwa Joyce, wote waandikishe statement kuhusu mkutano wa jana na ni kwa nini leo wakati maneno iliharibika the police stood there watching without taking action. Wale vijana ambao tuko na picha zao katika hii msukumo wakimpiga mheshimiwa na baadaye kumdunga kisu, hao vijana must be arrested now.
Yes. The mother of the deceased MCA narrates how she got the breaking news of the death of her son.
Mheshimiwa ni mtoto wangu. Nilikuwa nimeenda shambani. Vile nilikuwa shambani, mke mwenzangu akanipigia simu, akasema Stephen amekufa. Nikatoka kwa shamba nikaja hapa nyumbani. Nikahakikisha kweli mtoto wangu ameenda. Na nimesikia huzuni zaidi. Nimesikia huzuni. Amenambia wamemtunga kisu. Hata sijui ni watu gani ambao wamemtunga kisu. Mungu mwenyewe ndiye anajua. Tena Mungu mwenyewe ndiye atapigana hiyo vita.
Maloba, who is a first-time member of County Assembly elected as an independent candidate, was taken to Vihiga County Referral Hospital in Mbale, where he died shortly after arrival. Reporting for TV47, my name is Gilbert Nalo.
And still in Kakamega County, a student of Sacred Heart Mukumu Girls High School has died days after 246 learners were hospitalized with vomiting, diarrhea and dizziness. The student had been sent home to seek medical attention when she died, and as Elizabeth Atiene reports, the death and puzzle behind the strange illness remains unsolved.
It's all gloom and doom at the Sacred Heart Girls High School Mukumu. As students and teachers mourn the death of 14-year-old Wendy Abet, a Form 1 student among the 246 students who were rushed to hospital on Tuesday this week after exhibiting symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, difficulties in breathing and stomachache.
It even scares the other young souls in the same class, even in the school when they hear, I have not even told them as such because I'm afraid they might think there's something bad here that is whatever. But when she left the school, she was well. I've told you she even slept in the house. They took her to hospital the next day.
Joan Oyugi is Wendy's mother and now narrates to us what ensued from the moment her daughter fell ill on Wednesday to the time she breathed her last on Friday night.
I was told to go and pick her in the school.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I went, picked her, took her to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Akafanyiwa test zote akakuwa kuna bacterial infection.
Mm-hmm.
Akawekwa on drugs and that is it. She was just weak. She could talk and walk but she was weak. For Bungoma.
Uh-huh.
So we transferred the body yesterday night.
Oh, okay.
To Marsh Funeral Home. No, nothing. I want nothing. I just bury my daughter. That was it.
The school principal who confirmed the death now says that 17 students are still receiving treatment at Mukumu Hospital. 7 others have been transferred to Kakamega Referral Hospital, with 1 being in intensive care unit.
We have done stool tests, blood tests,
and we are generally checking for sepsis or infection, as well as typhoid, amoeba.
The school further submitted water samples for lab test and analysis, with the results confirming that the water is fit for human consumption. Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale today visited some of the admitted students at Mukumu Hospital. Halwale lamented over the poor state of the facility after he found the ailing students sharing hospital beds with no medical personnel attending to them.
And the children in the ward are actually very unwell because of the 246 cases involved, and the fact that 4 days after we still have fresh cases coming up. It means they must be assisted. They are unable.
Halwale has further called for the closure of Mukumu Girls High School until the school meets the required public health standards.
That we allow all the children in Mukumu Girls to go home and stay at home for as many days as it will take to bring the situation under control.
Mambo ya kufunga shule kuna utaratibu, na kama hao ndio watathibitisha wa inform board ikae, watu wa public health wapatie recommendations, watuelezee ni area gani nitakiwa to improve on, pass alafu tutaongea hata na mjumbe wetu tukielewana kama group stakeholders. Hizi hatuna ubaya.
Questions now abound as to the safety of students in this school. This is after reports emerged that in May 2022, 28 students from the school were hospitalized with fever and diarrhea symptoms, leading to the demise of 2 students in July the same year. Ministry of Health officials were sent to the school to investigate the causes of deaths, which were linked to a malaria outbreak. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Now, elsewhere, more than 1,000 Kenyans have asked that to be enjoined in a case seeking to sue internet search company Google for alleged privacy violations. In the class action lawsuit filed by African Center for Corrective and Preventive Action at the Milimani High Court Constitutional and Human Rights Division, ACCPA accuses the tech firm of breaching Kenya's data protection laws by illegally tracking Android users and collecting personal information such as face photos of internet consumers.
The matter is before the High Court in Nairobi, and the judge has allowed us to invite or to bring in as many parties as are they affected by the substratum or by the foundation of this particular petition to come and enjoin. And those are people who are users of Google Android mobile platform, users of Gmail and all those applications which have been put in place by Google Kenya Limited and by extension Google.
Our intention is that anybody who has a genuine claim, genuine concern, it has been done in other jurisdiction. We are quite certain that the outcome of the matter, there shall be compensation. And more important to us is to ensure that the orders we shall get, we shall ensure that these companies, not only Google, but all tech companies, operate in a framework whereby they are able to respect the rights of the users, and especially Kenya.
I'm urging my fellow youths and fellow Kenyans to register on the ongoing matter about data infringement, especially by the Google. We are filing a petition in the courts, and I am among the registered youths. So I'm calling on everyone to register so that together we can file for this petition.
Now to the beautiful world of sports, and we do begin with the game of kings and queens. Over 300 golfers earlier today took part in the Ruiru Golf Club Chairman's Prize Tournament at the Ruiru Golf Club course in Kiambu County. The annual tournament is held as a ratification ceremony of the newly elected club chairman. This year, incumbent chairman Dominic Shege defended his prestigious role at the club and was re-elected unopposed. Speaking during the tournament, Ruiru Golf Club's chairman Dominic Shege stated that that the competition is of great importance to popularize and demystify the sport, adding that he has put in place measures that will focus on improving the welfare of golfers at the club.
Batting.
Now, gaming firm Betnary has continued to show its support for Kenyan sports after the company officially signed a partnership deal with Kenyan boxing ace Emmanuel Wanyonyi in a bid to help in his boxing career, while at the same time nurturing young talented boxers in the country. Betnary has been supporting Wanyonyi since his return to the boxing ring in his fight against Tanzania's Karim Mandonga earlier in January this year, where he lost. However, the gaming firm continued to support him despite the results. Speaking after the signing of the partnership deal, Wanyonyi expressed his excitement over the support offered to him, saying it will motivate him to perform better in his rematch against Mandonga, slated for April. Now, as he assured Kenyans of a victory, Betnary officials stated that they intend to focus on other sports and identify talented youngsters who need support to attain their maximum potential.
Kutokana na Betnary na mshaona safari tumeanza ni tofauti sana na ile game nyingine. Sasa ina focus sababu ya nguvu ile wamenipa. Hiyo ni kumaanisha wananishughulikia kila kitu professional. Kwa hivyo kazi yangu sasa ni kuwapiga pale nje, wao wanashughulika, na hiyo ndio shukrani kubwa sana warudishia. Na naambia vijana mitaani, leo ni mimi, kesho ni wao. So wakuwe na morale, waoneshe talent zao. Betnary iko njiani, itawaona.
We started off with Kongoni, with the tournament there, to engage with the community. As you know, Betnary, I keep on saying this, is a brand for the people. It's Kenyan owned, for 100% owned Kenyan. It's for Kenyan people, and we care about people. That's where we earn our money. We earn our joy, life and joy. So we tend to support the local, i.e. Kenyan people, to be able to get them on the right track.
From the boxing rings to the football pitches, Zakayo Erikale today scored a last gasp goal to help Tusker FC come from 2 goals down to defeat Rainbow FC 3-2 and qualify into the quarterfinals of the Mozart Bet Cup at the Kasarani Annex. Rainbow FC started the match in a strong foot as Edward Omondi fought them ahead in the 5th minute before Salim Murunga added the second only 7 minutes later to give them a thumping lead. Omondi Stewart followed up his blocked penalty to slot the ball into the back of the net in the hour mark as Siwa Shapan tapped home the equalizer after being set up by Othiambo Levin in the 69th minute. Eric headed home the winner after latching onto Michael Duor's header in the 89th minute to hand the Brewers the much-needed victory as they marched on to the quarterfinals of the competition.
Game iko poa, especially first half, but kidogo, of course ukicheza na top tier team kidogo wanakuaga na heavy bench, design wakikuja, that's why results imekuwa hivyo second half. Of course nilikuwa na expective, that's why tulikuwa na push, especially our players who keep on the mentality of defending and also to attack. Naweza sema good job, wamefight, wamescore 2 goals. It is a recommended